been looking for a podcast to help you transform your physical and mental? One that'll shoot you straight between the eyes with truth and no BS, helping you have the right mindset to accomplish things, the iron will and fortitude to follow through with what you say you're going to do. No excuses. Mark owns martial arts schools, and after 30 years, he has some real insight for real talk, real life, real conversations, motivational, fitness, self-defense, weight loss, live from the Great 1-8. This is Real Talk with Mark Cox.
All right. Good morning. We are live. Good morning. Good morning, FICO. Now, listen, it's morning for me. It's 9 here. Where are you at? Where are you out of?
So I'm in the East Coast, Augusta, Georgia. It's 12:07 right now at this time. Yep.
Okay. So, I keep forgetting that you're out of Georgia. So how far are you from Savannah? What's a Savannah ride to you?
Savannah, Georgia is about, my wife can tell you better than I, about 2 hours, I say. Probably
so we're very close. So Statesboro, I'm wondering if Statesboro is closer to Augusta. And then, because I'm coming out there again, if you're that close to me, we need to meet meet for coffee or something. I'll drive to you. I'll be coming out there to Georgia again. Okay.
Yes,
so I'll
sir.
make sure, that we hit each other, and we'll have not a virtual coffee. We'll have some real coffee. Right.
There you go.
That'd be awesome.
No, we can, my wife makes it pretty, I just signed her up. She makes a pretty good coffee, man. We have our own espresso machine and all that. We can put everything you need. You don't need to go to a fancy restaurant or anything.
That's right. That's what I'm going to make sure that happens. I promise you, when I come out there, I'm coming out in about 3 weeks. Amazing. I go out to Georgia quite often. I've owned some property out there. I also have black belts that own schools, one in Pooler, one in Statesboro. And so I go out quite often doing black belt tests and seminars. And you being from the Army, I used to go to Hunter Base quite often, and I would teach the military off Hunter.
Yeah,
the special operations out of there, the Rangers especially, and the religious team, the chaplain's assistants. So what we have a very combat veteran ranger that's our head of our self-defense stuff in Georgia. His name is Chappie. And so he's a chaplain's assistant. So he went on. I mean, he served some serious tours, where he did, and now he's our main instructor out there. And so we get to go out there with these chaplain assistants because chaplains can't carry any weapons on the battlefield.
That's that. Yeah.
So outside of maybe a dagger or something to that effect, they can't have any weapons. So we would do some very specialized training down there, and I would help them with gun. That's what I did a lot down there, and it was a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
I learned a lot being a civilian. I wasn't in the military, but being a civilian and being able to teach them and trying to get them to accept me because I wasn't in their world. I was a cop for a while, but I wasn't in their world.
Yeah.
But
you come to my world, man, with that background, and if you know who you're talking to, they better accept you.
Yeah. So it was good, man. I had a lot of fun. Let me talk about your bio here a little bit so everybody can kind of get to know you.
Yes, sir.
So Federico Martinez, known as FICO, that's what your nickname is. A husband, a family man, a U.S. Army vet, a 10X business coach, relationships and transformational architect who empowers success and inspires life's true potential in individuals and business. You are from Lares, Puerto Rico, a small town in the island's Midwest region. You've been married for 21 years to an amazing, spectacular, gorgeous Doris Martinez. I want to make sure that she knows what you said about her right there.
Oh, yeah. I have to. We have to. Let's announce it. Yeah, of course.
That's correct. Together, that you have 3 children. You have Cris, my champ. He wrestles. Oh, he's a wrestler, huh?
He's a wrestler. 18. He just started wrestling. College last week.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's good. What college he's going to out in Georgia?
So he's going not in Georgia. He's going to be in Alabama, Huntington College, in Alabama. So he has scholarship for wrestling, and that's where he decided to go. Small college, is religious. So good. Pretty good. I love it.
Well, listen, that's better than some of these big Ivy Leagues, I can tell you that. So he was born in Germany, it has. You have Liz, the brains and artist, who is 16, born in Augusta. Is it Liana? I'm saying her name right? Liana. Oh, what a pretty name. She's the firecracker, huh? The girl that can do anything physical sports, currently a gymnast who's 11, born in South Korea. We are a family of athletes. You're a proven, caring, and transcendent leader, retired as a lieutenant colonel on December 30th, 2022, after serving honorably in the United States Army for over 21 years as a communications officer. We thank you for your service, as we always do our vets. We absolutely have nothing but respect for you guys and putting it out there. And, of course, being a lieutenant colonel, I mean, you're up there with the big boys. You were leading a lot of people, I'm sure. So let's talk about let's talk about that. So you're from Puerto Rico. How did you decide to go into the military? Did you do that as a young man?
Ooh, man, the story. Let me see. So family members, they've been in the military for, since the Korean War all the way to Operation Iraqi Freedom, the latest one. But I always saw this family members, talking about their experiences in the military. And what was one particular one that he was a medic. He also was a police officer in Puerto Rico, Wilfredo Rios. And he went to the Gulf War along with a bunch of other of my relatives. There were like 5 or 6 of them, I think, in the Gulf War. But he came back with all this stuff that we're not supposed to give away, like bullets and knife and special flashlights. And I was a kid looking at this like, wow, this is cool. So he gave me the little necklace with the bullet and with a 50 cal bullet, and that was like, wow, this is pretty nice. And in the 80s and 90s, there was a thing going called playing outside, and I'm from Puerto Rico, and around me there was like nothing but little woods and stuff like that. So you used to play war and with sticks carrying around, thinking that they were weapons. That it was always in me. So fast forward to how old I got there in the military. I was going to the Marines in '95. I already have everything signed up, ready to go, and all of a sudden, entertainment news, e-news, show up this never before seen behind the scenes footage or something exclusive of Marines getting hazed and beat the hell up. And like, I'm looking at that and like, that's what I'm signing up for. No. So in 95, I told the recruiter, no, I'm not. The guy went nuts, but anyway, I'm not going anywhere. And I decided to go to college. So when I got to college, things happened. Fast forward like 3 or 4 years. In 1998, I'm in a different school. I went to my second school in college, and a friend of mine, my best friend, Jomaris Rivera, she knew that I was in the previous school. She knew me from the previous school, and she told me, hey, do you want to do workout with us in the morning? I didn't know what it was about. And sure, I'll get up and work out with you guys at 5 in the morning. And that's how I was introduced to the Army ROTC. And 9999, rose my right hand, got sworn into the reserves, commissioned in 2001, June 2001, and entered active duty October 22nd, 2001.
That's interesting. So my boys both did ROTC. Was your ROTC in school? Was it Army, Air Force, Navy? What was your ROTC?
Army.
It was Army. So
yes, sir.
Yes, I think my boys were Air Force, believe it or not. I think in their high school when they did ROTC. I had a couple of my boys do ROTC.
Yeah,
which I thought was really good for them. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And of course, it's hard to do that kind of stuff in high school back in here, wearing your uniform on certain days, and it is. But the commander there was awesome, with the boys. Some went off to be in the military, and some served honorably down there, and was deployed and stuff like that. So your deployments, talk about your deployments. How many deployments did you on?
I had 3 deployments. But again, the toughest one was the first one, because it's completely unknown. So just go back and rewind. Think about the date that I got commissioned into the military and what was going on. I got commissioned June 2001.
That's
And it was a different army back then. It was smaller. It was like we were on cruise control. All of a sudden, what happened? 9/11.
9/11. And you're right there 3 months in.
3 months in, yeah, waiting for my call to go into my first assignment. 2 days after 9/11, I got married. So, yeah, my wife has been with me all this time for over almost 22 years. So she was basically experiencing the same things that I was doing, but I was in the front lines. She was taking care of everything else in the house, which is probably more difficult. Back then, my wife was young. She was young. My wife was 21 years, I believe, 21 years old. No, 20 or 21.
20 years old. Yeah, that's
21. So yeah, the first deployment was to Iraq. We didn't know what was going on. We just didn't know when we were coming back. Some people, the old guys said, "Oh, this is gonna be fast. We're just gonna go there like we did in the Gulf War." Because I have a couple of individuals there in my team that were Gulf War vets, and they said, "Oh yeah, this is nothing." Yeah, it was nothing. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't know when we were coming back. It was tough. It was a lot of things, a lot of emotions. It was emotional. One of the stories that I say is recently married, my wife and I married my wife for a reason, because I knew she will be able to handle everything that was coming her way when we selected this life, it was not going to be easy. And she's independent, strong person, great interpersonal skills. She will make it happen. She's a go-getter, right? So we'll be fine. Whatever happens, it will be fine. But what hit me and still stuck in my mind is that day that we were in a staging area in the motor pool of our base in Germany, and we say goodbye in the apartment that we were. She didn't come down. There was other relatives there. It was a fence area, and we were in the bus. And I recall when I looked to the side, there are a bunch of buses, but you don't. They didn't know where I was. She didn't know where I was. I saw her. She came down, and I saw her in the fence, like waving goodbye. But I was waving, but I didn't know she saw me or anything. But that was the last thing I saw from her. The last image that I have of her before we deployed March. That was March 3rd, 2001 and 2003. Yep.
So September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So 6 months after your
No. So I entered 2001, and then I went to schools and everything. The Gulf War, the Iraq War started in March 2003. It started in 2003. The official invasion was a couple of weeks after we got to Iraq in March of 2003. Yeah, because they first went to Afghanistan after 9/11. We attacked Afghanistan, and then we actually end up in Iraq a few years after that, like a year and a half after that.
So give me your mindset, what that looked like, because that was probably just as new to you guys as anything else, right? You get commissioned 3 months later, you're hit with 9/11. What was the mindset of those that were there? Were you guys like, hey, man, were you nerve-wracked? Were you like, okay, let's freaking go? Or what was the deal?
So it all depends, But me as a young second lieutenant, of course, I'm nervous. I had to rely on those that been there, done that, and adapt what they and learn from what they have done and what works, what not worked. I had great leadership to help me out, overcome any kind of issues or concerns without them directly telling me, because that's what leaders do. Leaders act, right? So, and you have to be open-minded to see what they're doing and make sure you capture all that so you learn from them. No one needs to teach you by talking to you or whatever. I learned by watching, and most people do that. Just follow what they're doing. And I have great non-commissioned officers. We call it NCOs. We have the enlisteds that are NCOs and the soldiers, and then we have the officers. But the NCOs are running the show. And I was blessed to have great NCOs pulling me to the side as a young officer, telling me, dude, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. You cannot do this. You got to do this. So you got to be open-minded. You got to have a learner's mentality everywhere you go. And that's applicable in any situation, work, military, everywhere you go. You're going to start something new, learn from those that have done it, and be open-minded. Have a learner's mentality.
I think that super valuable lesson right there when you talk about having your NCOs coming to you and you open enough as an officer to listen to what they have to say and then implement. Sometimes, you know, even in our world and martial arts world, sometimes the officers feel that they're already here. They don't really kind of listen to their downline, you know, what that is. I think that's powerful that you did that. That's a lesson in itself, correct? Even in business, these are the kind of leadership skills I think I talk about, FICO, that you have, that when you come to the table, things that you learned in the military, when you're in the midst of chaos and you're kind of even a young CEO, right? And you got to rely on your under management there to help push you to the next level while you're trying to keep them all motivated. I think that's powerful stuff.
Yeah, it's all about the potential, right? Everyone has the potential to be great, but you have to be open-minded. You have to be able to listen. You have to be trainable, coachable, to be able to be good. If not, you get stuck and you get kicked out. So you better learn fast. That's the thing. You got to learn fast. You got to catch up very fast. It's a different environment.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people don't really realize the split-second decisions made. Yeah, it's easy for them to hammer on our military or hammer on our police and not really ever had to make split-second decisions that are life and death. It's easy to be the armchair quarterback when people are putting themselves out there on the line. I mean, I've seen it over and over again. I
really respect what you do, what you did, and what you're doing right now in those different areas. But wow, yeah, people that have no clue what you guys are going through.
Yes, absolutely, that's true. So you decided. Now, how did you continue moving up the ranks in the military? Did you just was that your trajectory? Is that what you wanted to do? Or is it just, you know, hard work? You know, my instructor says a lot of times it's kind of like work stops in the martial arts. You work really hard, then all of a sudden there's another rank. And you really just kind of, the more work you put in, all of a sudden there's another rank. And so they're more like work stops. You stop for a second and you get promoted. Was it like that, or were you driven to go up and up and up? How did that work?
So we have timelines that we're supposed to promote, right, as an officer. But it's all about hard work. You need to perform. You just because you reach certain timeline, not automatically you're gonna get promoted. So yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but my mission was to surpass one of my mentors in Puerto Rico when I did the ROTC. He was a major. But he was prior enlisted, so he had a lot of years as an enlisted, and then he changed over to officer. And I said, oh, I want to be at least a major or lieutenant colonel, and I was looking for full bird. That was my goal, to become a full bird colonel. So I did whatever it took to stay on track, to perform, and be able to get promoted little by little, not by talking, just by action. Again, there's a lot of things going against me. Back then, my English was not pretty good looking, like Mark Anthony said. So it got a little refined. It was a lot better than any other. But you start with that accent, and then you're new. There's a lot of things that go, and the soldiers know where you're coming from. The soldiers smell a phony a mile away. And if you're a phony, they're not going to have your back. If you are a good person, there's always looking for the best for them. They will go down with you, regardless. They will go with you. They will have your back all the time. And thanks to that, that's what's carrying me through all the ranks. You cannot make it to lieutenant colonel by yourself. You need a family, a strong family, and a strong support group, a team to get you there.
So that begs. Let's talk about that real quick. When you said you had a language barrier, so you had to improve that along with everything else. So bilingual. I'm sure you went in as a bilingual anyway, but then you decided that, hey, in order to get to the next level, this is where I have to level up, and that's what you chose to do. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. So fun story here. Back in the 90s, I started learning better English. I consider it better English, listening to late 70s, 80s, and 90s rock songs. So I have a lot of rock, Aerosmith, Poison, Motley Crue, Queen.
Let's go.
It's like Kiss, you name it. Everything was like, so some of the things that I used to say were like verses of songs, and I had no idea what they were saying, but I that's how I got it done, right? So moving forward in the military, I got better. And the other thing that I was it was against me. I was commissioned, because this is how the Army makes sense of things, right? I was commissioned as a communications officer. So this is in charge of networks and setting up the comms when you go to the field. But my degree was athletic training. I was an athletic trainer. Like, holy crap. So I'm learning all this stuff. I'm an athletic trainer. I was commissioned as a communications officer. I have a language barrier. Like, holy, what is this? So I rely on my strength. I was the guy always a PT, pushing people out, physical fitness, motivating others. I used to break a lot of rules during PT that are unwritten rules for the non-commissioned officers. When you're running in a formation, the non-commissioned officers are the ones that are supposed to be singing, and they call it the cadence.
Right.
I used to sneak by behind and start taking over some of the formation. I used to get pissed. Stop! Get out of here! What the hell are you doing? It's fun. It was fun. So yeah, I came in with relying on my strengths and never stop believing that I can do this. They can do it. This is something that I would do. And again, going back with the people that really wanted you to do good, because you're proving yourself that you are a great person. That's where it starts. Everything starts with that. You got to prove yourself you're a good person. The intentions are right, and then people start, they rally with you. They rally with you.
Right. I think that's true. I think that's a true statement, that you have to prove yourself to be, for somebody's, having somebody's back for sure, and that they can rely on you. I think all that building rapport and having belief in what you do, I think, are two things that give you charisma. And charisma, it can be taught, and it's there's three things about charisma, right? You have a super belief in what you're doing, you communicate, and you have a genuine concern for people. I think that is for sure, a byproduct of charisma. So if you want to be charismatic, when it's not the one that's loud on the stage, it's the ones that you can believe on stage, right? Because they've lived it, they believed it, they've seen it, and they have such a belief in it. And then there's a genuality that comes with that. And you are correct on when people can smell a rat. Okay. You're like, man, you just come on now.
I'm telling you, you used to do some crazy stuff with the soldiers. I used to go, again, I was an athlete in college. So 25 pounds ago, I used to run for cross country. All right. Yeah. So it was 10Ks 25 pounds ago. I still jog my way out because I got some medical complications, but I used to take soldiers down long runs. In Germany, there's the most thing you have is trails. And this is how people were testing me back then. I had non-commissioned officers that knew that I was doing PT before PT because I wanted to get ahead of the game. And I used to go for my runs, 3, 4, 5 miles to come back in formation, get accountability. All of a sudden, you got the NCOs taking the formation and say, hey, today is going to be in charge, Lieutenant Martinez. Like, what the hell? Don't you see me? I'm drenching sweat. Yeah, he's going to take you for a run. And I just finished like a 4-mile run. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not saying that, but that's how it's. Just take him. Okay, you tested me. 7 more miles down the trails, come back. Singing and going crazy, man. In Grafenbeer, winter, going out there, -5 degrees, running in shorts, just with that cap. And, I was trying to prove myself, this dude is nuts, singing with them and going. It was some fun times, man. It was fun times. I did enjoy that.
This is why you're a leader, FICO, in your niche, because just simple things like that. You get out and do things that people are not willing to do to get where you want to be. That's one thing, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then they want to push you to see if you really have the gonads to do what you say you just did, and then you outprove them, because that kind of mindset is like, oh, okay, you want to test me?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens.
Fun times.
And then you go and do what you do. That's awesome. I don't see anything but leadership straight out of that. I think that's great.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
so we got a good beat on your military. So let's talk. You went 21 years. I mean, how close were you to full colonel?
I was about two good evaluations away. I put it 2 good evaluations away. Solid evaluations. What stopped me? You're going into different environments. The environments can make you or break you. I had a new position back in 2020. Yeah, summer 2020. Like the Army, everything is you're unmanned on the strength. You're not resourced well, so you're making it happen with a small team, right? But that took a toll on me, physically, mentally, and once we started getting help, I was trying to get myself fixed, and I decided to get, I have shoulder issues, I have knee issues, I got other things, and I decided to get my surgery for my shoulder. In February 2021, things were not going my way after I came back from surgery. All of a sudden, I remember like today, President's Day 2021, February 2021. I had a blood clot, which was my second one in my right leg. And I knew I had it because I knew the symptoms for the previous one. My leg was swollen. My girl told me, your leg looks big. And yep. Let me go to the ER, and they confirmed it. They did a scan and everything. And yeah, I had a blood clot. So when you get a blood clot, now they put you on blood thinners. If you're on blood thinners, you're non-deployable.
I'm in the same boat you were. I had that.
Yeah, it's tough because you become non-deployable. What does that mean? It means a lot, especially for an officer. If you cannot deploy, you cannot perform, you can do other things, but you're competing. Everything is a competition after you get certain ranks. Everything is a competition, like it or not. So that put me on the bench while I recover. And I knew when I went to the bench, I was not coming back. Bottom line. That was it for me. And that was hard to accept, because if you're not present, you cannot perform, you cannot contribute, you cannot perform, and you rely on evaluations. And if there are 30 people that are competing and FICO's not showing up because of medical health, people are going to leapfrog you. So you're going to become in the middle. So, and when you are an officer, you need to have the top blocks. You need to perform above 50% of the other ones. And I knew that hit me very hard, because it just stopped me. Like, boom, it was a smack out of nowhere, a punch in the gut, a knockout blow. You know what I'm saying? And that depressed me. That led to a lot of issues. Everything was like a bad perfect storm. I was physically hurt, again, going with my kinks after 20 plus years of service back then, and then the mental aspect. Things that happened in the past start convoluting and getting bigger and expanding, and now combined with all the other things that I had, it was not good, and that stopped me from making rank.
Yes, that's health is a precious commodity. Let's just say that. So I had that happened to me. I had,
wow.
Matter of fact, my blood clots. I think mine happened from an injury, and I didn't know. As a matter of fact, I was on my way to Hunter base, and I went to the hospital, and they said, we don't see anything. So I flew. Not to mention, I was shooting testosterone at the time, which is not good. That thickens your blood. And then I was on an airplane, and when I was at Hunter, it was a rough time because what I did is they let me take one of their classes and be certified in it, which they don't like civilians do, but they let me take it. So I did the first class, and then the second class I did, I was the one teaching gun. And I was so tired, Fico. I was so I'm like, what is wrong with me, man?
Mm-hmm.
And I continued that week. I came home. I had a really sharp pain in my back, like I thought I got hit when we were doing simunitions in the house, right? We were doing real simunition rounds and stuff like that in the house. And so I was like, man, what is wrong with me? So I told my son, I said, hey, I got to go to the hospital. And then they said, you're lucky to be alive. You have blood clots. You have 2 of them in your lungs.
Wow.
You're lucky.
Oh, that's super dangerous.
Okay. You're lucky that you're not dead.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I was on blood thinners I just got off blood thinners last December. I was on for 4 years, and it took the warriorness out of me. I don't know if you've felt that before. I speak about this all the time, that part of me is a fighter, and I like to fight. And that's what's, and I was told you cannot take head trauma like that anymore. You can't get out there and spar when you're on blood thinners.
Yep.
And so it kind of defeated me. I was super defeated.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like,
you got to hold back on everything because anything can be an issue.
Right. And so I was super defeated. And, I went into kind of a depression, even gained more weight. And I was like, man. And then I had to come out of that. I remember being scared that anytime I had a tightness of anything, I was like, oh my gosh, the blood clot's coming and I'm going to get a stroke. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was petrified, and I had to come out of this funk. I had to come out of this mental thing. And then I found jujitsu. Jujitsu gave me a warrior spirit again, because jujitsu, you're not getting hit in the face. You're not getting hit in the head. You're not sparring. You're trying to choke the shit out of each other. But, so I was like, man, this is better. This is better. I feel better. It was a cleansing. I feel like I had my warriorship back. So I've been where you're at, and I know how defeating that is, because especially you're an athlete on top of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you probably had these thoughts of, being on blood thinners, all the kind of stuff that comes with blood clots. And you've had one before, you said, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Are you susceptible?
It was September 2014. We were doing what I call a staff assistant visit in overseas. So we were going to basically check out and do a walkthrough to the in the unit that we were going to replace when we were deployed. Long flight, the first one. We got there, and I started noticing that I was limping. I had a limp, and then my leg was swelling, and okay. And I still work out and run out, but limping. I didn't know what it was. And we're ramping up to deploy. We are getting ready to deploy. We came back from that visit in the Middle East, and still with the limp. Yeah, man, this limping. So fast forward October, about 3 weeks after that, a friend of mine that was leading the staff said, dude, you better go check yourself out because you've been limping for a while. And the last, I know ex-guy that had symptoms like that, and he had a blood clot. I said, a blood clot? Okay, let me go check. I went to the emergency room in El Paso, Texas, and they did the test. They scanned me and said, you had a blood clot. I was in the hospital for 3 days. I had a blood clot. That was my first one. But this is the FICO, the hardhead FICO. I could have deployed because they put me on blood thinners. And I said, hell no, we've been training for all this time. And my staff was undermanned. It was young. And I'm the leader of this. And my boss was telling me, you don't need to go. I said, I got to go. I have a commitment with these people. So we were able to get a waiver for me to deploy from the area surgeon, the CENTCOM, the Central Command surgeon, put a waiver, approve a waiver for me so I can deploy even though I was on blood thinners. And I went and deployed because I felt that I need to go. This is my duty. And anyway, the rest is history. We did pretty well over there. It was amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing, right? Those kind of those moments in life will make you or break you. They're either going to define you, or you let it define you. Define it, or it defines you. One of the two happens, right?
Yeah.
And so it sounds like, in your and how you do things, how you approach life, based on the short time I've got to know you and speak with you, that it was just another obstacle that you need to get through, and of course you did. So you're out of the Army now, and you decided that what I'm going to do. You put in 21 years, so you have a pension from them now, correct? You put your time
That's
in,
correct.
and you've decided that, hey, I'm going to go down another avenue. And so let's talk about what you're doing today and where you're at with it, and what's your plans, and how does your coaching, and how did you come about this?
Oh yeah. So I told you that I had that second blood clot. That was in 2021. So it was a tough 2 years that I had to go through to overcome all these issues. And during that period, I was able to heal. First of all, I was able to go back to church.
Mm-hmm.
My family, my wife, my kids visited church, and I gave it a try. Even though I was Catholic, went to Catholic school, and I had stories for that for a while. But we Puerto Ricans are very religious based, Catholic based, and we always, from the time I can remember, I was going to church back home. But when I entered the military, I just, for no excuses or reasons, just step away from it. And it was over 20 years without actually going into listening to God's words, and none of that. So got to church, and I said, man, this is not bad. This is different, but this is good. And I felt that the pastor is talking to me. Oh my goodness, he's talking to me. So that
Amazing, right?
ignites something. That was like, dude, this guy, what is he talking about? I feel that he was like looking at me. There's all these people, and he looking and talking to me. So that thing, it was like, okay, I need to come here more often. The other thing is, I told you that my kids, my oldest kid is a wrestler. My middle child, she also wrestles. So I started going to be more present into with their uh, tournaments. And we have a bunch of kids. You have a team of wrestlers, the Wolf Pack from Evans, Georgia. They are the best team in Georgia anyway. Boop, free announcement, free plug. so I started seeing these kids, and what can I do? Because that's what I do. Everywhere I go, I try to see what kind of value can I add. How can I make them better? What can I contribute to this environment? So I started taking pictures and getting more involved with their, follow them around in tournaments, and taking hundreds and hundreds of pictures, and giving it to the coach, Aaron Epstein, who's the media guy. They always post pictures. I said, giving them to him, and people started liking that, and then I started getting with the kids, coaching them in mental aspects, trying to get them ready for a match, trying to pump them up, consoling, consoling them in the moments of defeat, and all those things. I said, I can do this. This is something that is pretty good. And I used to do this all the time with my soldiers and in the military. So that helped me move towards that type of coaching environment. Then as got into Maxwell leadership, got certified with John C. Maxwell. That was another environment that was like, I'm moving here. It's like, I feel this thing. Then I decided I don't want to work 9 to 5, even though I have all these clearances and all this stuff, and I got these offers. The hell no. I want to spend time with the things that matter the most, and I want to add as much value as I can to anyone out there. I can impact more on than becoming a civilian and being in a corner from 9 to 5, doing absolutely nothing but searching Facebook or typing a couple of memos. No, there's something greater out there for me. And this is why I started pursuing things like leadership coaching, public speaking, and business with finances, business with now multi-level marketing organization, things like that I'm super engaged, and I get to talk to so many people. CLA is this is what I was meant for. It was like, I was not meant to be a 9 to 5 with in an office that has no windows, and you don't know if even day or night are there.
Right, that's true. Yes. Yes,
Yes,
I was
sir.
never built for that, to be honest with you. I was in those type of environments, and it never served me well. It sounds like you're going to be, have you written any books, or have you thought of any books to write?
So a couple months ago, I met the great Emilio Roman. I see that he sponsors your show. I see it down there at Alma. So we were talking, and he said, "Hey, do you have a book?" Because we were introducing each other, getting to know each other. Yeah, you need a book, man. That's gonna open so many doors. And so that was months ago, and I got it with a deal with another person. It's a TV streaming platform called Traverse TV. That person said, "You need a book," because I signed a contract with them to do a TV show 2 months ago online. And a book is going to help you out. And I book. Everywhere I go, I see book. And then all of a sudden, I talk to Emilio. Hey, he opened up the doors for me to be in one of his books, and that's what's going to happen. And I believe the 5th edition of the book that we are releasing this Saturday, the 19th,
Right.
in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey. So I'm going to be in that edition. I have chapter 1, and I'm really looking forward to that. We have a little bit of time, so yeah, I'm
So
working on that.
So you're going to start in an anthology. That's where you're going to start. Which, it was really new to me when I first did it. Man, I was very like, how am I? I didn't even graduate college. How am I going to write a book, right? And then I've always had the title. I've always had lessons that I've learned off the mat. That's why it's called Beyond the Mat. My lessons I take from here, lives changed, and people that's changed my life, and then the lessons learned. And so I wrote that book. And then I am in the spiritual one that's going to release here that you're going to be at. Because spiritual fitness, it sounds like something's right up your alley also. These motivational stories where I started my martial arts as a ministry. I started it at church.
Wow.
In 1987, when I was a black belt, we started it in our church as a ministry. And then I knew there for a couple years that this is what I wanted to do for a living. And then doors continued to be open. Doors were shut, doors were open. I was very persistent on what I wanted to do. And then here we are, 35, 40 years later.
It's amazing, right? How the environments contribute to the growth.
It's definitely. So I think that's great that you're going to be first chapter's major in an anthology. You're the first go-to that people are going to read, and I'm sure you have powerful stories based on. Now you got a way to have to think about, okay, what story do I what out of all my stories, what do I tell? What do I tell?
That's what I have the genius of Emilio. We sit down and we'll figure that out.
So he'll help you with that outline.
What is hot at that time? What you gotta piggyback on things that are hot, right?
Which I think is going to be good. Now, do you have in your consulting? Tell me what you're looking for. Are you looking for in your community or outside your community to build a community? What's your ideal person you're looking for coaching purposes?
Right. So I have too many titles right now. A couple of things are going to they're related to each other, right? I'm starting to build. One of my dreams is to get my podcast going, and right now, as I am in this program, I'm learning from you how to handle this and how to handle, how to be doing my podcast, which I really want to get out very soon. So for local businesses, I'm going to use podcasts to edify them and to tell the stories and getting more rapport with them. That's one. That opens the opportunity for coaching small business owners. If I discover, or if we, in our conversations, we come across pains or issues or challenges that they're facing, I can actually jump into the coaching perspective and put my hat up as coach. But the main thing I came up just recently is my title, and I put a relationship and transformation architect, because I want the relationship to be first. Because you cannot do anything if you don't know the person, if you don't know who you're dealing with. So I build relationships. I help others also build relationships. And then we look for that thing that is causing that pain and transform it. Make sure we turn around and make sure that we deal with it. So just to be honest, I don't have like a standard target point with whatever I'm doing, but everything that I'm doing, I can serve anywhere depending on the environment I step in. I am part of a multi-level marketing organization that is in 27 countries. CLA is in about 17 or 18 countries. So when we get together all these events and we talk we tell our stories and we contribute and we are out there putting books and everything, the opportunities are endless. They come to us, are limitless. And I can step and put my coach hat, I can put my speaking hat, my financial hat, if that's one of your points, your pain points. If you're looking for job opportunities, I can throw that in there too. I have some other opportunities. There's so many things that I can do. My saying is, there's no way I cannot help you if you come to me with a problem. And when I say I, means my network is part of I. I have a network of professionals and individuals that if I don't have a solution, I have no problem to say, hey, this person needs help. Because once I know that someone needs help or has a pain that I cannot work, it becomes my pain and I got to find a solution to help them. There's no way I cannot help someone with what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's good. Now, so it shows in there, I think in your bio, you talked about being 10X. You went through that training and you said, which was the other one that you did? Was it Les Brown or
John Maxwell?
No, John Maxwell.
Yeah.
Right.
So I am going through the 10X training, business owners training. So what's going to happen in September, I will get officially certified as a 10X business coach. So right now I'm going through the modules. I've been to a marketing workshop in 2 weeks, or on the 25th and 26th, I'll be in another workshop with 10X. And for those that don't know, 10X is part of Grant Cardone branding, part of one of his branches that he actually put out there. Grant Cardone, the great real estate individual that is all over the place. So that's his baby. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to this, because if I get pretty good at this, they can even give me an opportunity to get clients from them, and I don't have to work for finding leads or anything. So, and that's the intent. You gotta work less to get something. Once you work on the front end, you gotta put all this work, and then at the end, you're gonna get all this stuff coming back to you.
100%. That's true. 100%. That's true. So let's talk about I think that having a platform, like you said, you have a podcast that's coming. Podcasts always, I tell everybody, your podcast is going to help you with your public speaking. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Because the more you do it, it's just the better you get. The big fear that everybody has is public speaking. They're more scared of getting in front of a group of people than they are dying. So, public speaking is just one of those things. And the magic formula to get better at public speaking is to do public speaking. So there's no magic pill. You just got to get in front of the mic and do it a little bit more until you're more comfortable when you do things. You can see from my beginnings, if you go back and listen to my original beginnings and to where I'm at today, learning the process of interviewing, learning the process of pausing, and how important it is to take a pause instead of but well, like and work on your enunciations and stuff like that in your speeches. You can't get anything but better. And so I've watched you come over and you're doing a lot of lives, and then you edify so well, Fico, just so you know. You edify people so well. You did this video even of me, and I'm like, wow, this guy's taking time out of his day to edify me a bit. And then you've done it for over and over and over again. And I'm like, man, he's just really putting himself out there, building others up. And this is what makes you kind of personable to want to be around, this kind of natural leadership that you already have. So I just want to kind of give you, it's hard to talk about ourselves, but I can talk about you because I watch what you do. And I've seen it now for the past 3 weeks. I kind of watch, before we've done our podcast, and I know that we spoke privately before. And then I said, wow, look at this guy on how he does things. Or you just had some virtual coffees and you put it out there, and you've got this great leadership ability. So I'm looking forward to watching you grow into your podcast and into your speaking. Are you doing any speaking at Emilio's thing? Are they just kind of highlighting you? Are they having you on stage at all, or what are they doing with you there?
I don't think they have me on stage, but it doesn't matter. I'm ready for whatever comes my way.
So you're already highlighted. I think that they're probably going to
they're going to highlight me as a guest.
And then you're going to get to interject yourself, and you're going to have these group of people that you get to have on as guests on your podcast as you continue growing. And then this is how things overtake. I've had so much fun with my podcasts, and I feel selfish every time I do them, because I get to spend an hour with these powerful individuals that I've got to do hundreds of episodes now, and understand where they come from, how they give value. And then I've asked personal questions on mine. Where do you think that this lacks? Where can you think that this can be better? And so I've gotten this personal time with these awesome individuals, including yourself, and watch you guys grow and grow and grow. And I've always enjoyed watching you guys on my podcast. I've said, man, I've interviewed them. Look where they're at today. And they just keep on escalating and escalating and growing and growing. And so it's been really awesome to see. So I'm looking forward to it as you write your first book, as you go through these steps and you become the coach and speaker that you want to be. I encourage you, if you guys, I can tell you what's helped me. I don't know if you've ever done any Toastmasters or anything like that.
No, I haven't.
Okay, but Toastmasters, do you know what it is?
Yes.
I have grown so much in Toastmasters. I have flourished in Toastmasters. And as a matter of fact, what I should do, FICO, one time, I should just have you as a guest on one of ours, because there's a virtual part of Toastmasters. I just have you as a guest on it one night, and you can see what this can do. It has helped me so much formulate my speeches. I'm very good at getting in front of a group of people, getting everybody hyped up. If I'm on the mat teaching martial arts, I'm in my element. Yeah. Okay. I'm just, I have so much belief in that kind of stuff that I can just pump the room up, and I'm good at pumping the room up. What I was not good at is having a solid closure, or having, sometimes I'm off here, and then boom, I'm off on a tangent over here, and everybody in the room is clapping and stuff like that. But I needed to learn how to hone my skills on how to write and get positive feedback, but real feedback. Hey, this is what was good in the speech. This is what if it was me, I would do this. And man, I'm telling you, in the last year with that club, this little club of mine has really sharpened my skills on speaking. And
it's about growing. It's about growth. You know,
right.
It's
yes.
You go through uncomfortable environments with the mentality that some people go there. Well, I'm fine, and then you go and get a different perspective, and you just fine tune your thing. You know, it's like, dude, you're missing this, you're missing that, or you're doing X, Y, Z. You don't need to do that. This works, and then it's up to you. You made a decision, right, to grab whatever they tell you and adapt it to your style. So,
it's been good. So this is part of my growth, and I've enjoyed watching how you're coming apart. So, as we're kind of winding down here, we got a few more minutes to speak, but let's talk about how you are going to. Well, you talk about community first, right? That you're going to be super involved in your community and try and help those that are leaders there. When you are looking for coaching, and you talked about finances, and you talked about you have a lot of hats that you can put on to the coaching. Do you work with the veterans at all?
That was that's one of my main things that I really, really, really want to work. Again, we're going to connect instantly. I have a great base now, in a huge base over here, formerly known as Fort Gordon, a few miles away. And I have contacts there that I can try to start plugging myself in. It's a TRADOC. It's a TRADOC organization with a training and doctoring organization also. And there are a few other organizations, but you need to get these people. Everyone needs help at different stages, right? But for the finance portion, I think you need to get people early, very early, so you can teach them how to be disciplined, how to not waste their money, and how to make wise decisions as they go. The older crowd, the leaders that are done that they require a different type of coaching, more stability, more predictability when you actually go out or getting ready to be out and do that transition, which I just went through. Help with that. It's not like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Let's sit down and figure that out and work with your strength to make sure you get what you need. And if you make bad ways or bad moves along your career, let's figure out what could be your next best move. So my main thing is like, there's a Dalai Lama passage that says, we are born to help other people. We are born to help other people. So at least, try to help as many people as you can. Don't hurt them. Though, my intention should be everywhere I go to leave it better than it was. Add value to someone. If you're an organization, let me go to that organization, make sure the organization is better than it was. That's my intent. I know I'm going to add value to someone when they come to me. I know that. That's a fact.
I think that's exactly what leadership is right there. What you talk about. I know that when they come to me, I'm going to add value. I ask about the veterans too, because I see them struggle.
Yep.
I have a heart for them. I have a heart for the police officers. I have a heart for all of them, because the Army has a way, and military has a way of forgetting about you as soon as you, even when you fly, right? I've always kind of snickered in the background when they say, if you're active military, you can get on the airplane first. And I'm thinking to myself, what about the ones that aren't active, bro? What about the ones that are already got shot at, that have to limp around, but it's the only active military. Every time I hear it, it just kind of mind boggles me in the airport. And I need active military with an ID. And I'm like, I remember flying with Chappie. I'm like, see, you're nothing now, dude. You've only done 4 or 5 tours. You're nothing. You can't get on the plane first. You're just,
oh my goodness.
It just drives me crazy when they do that.
Yeah.
So I think that having that in that realm, I know this. I'd like to get your feedback on this. I believe military men or women, as far as that goes, sometimes lose purpose when they come out of the military. And I know that I lost purpose as soon as I had blood clots. And I think it's more than just military or police that lose purpose. I think that us as human beings lose purpose. We lose hope. And then we need that coach to bring purpose back in our lives. I want to hear what you think about that.
Yeah, that's tremendous question. You know why? Because that's something that I'm working on in part of my coaching. There's a lot of people walking around us, and people just go through life without a specific target. They never had it. It's not that they lose purpose, it's that they probably did not ever know what their purpose was. And I try to bring clarity to that. It's let's focus on the target. What is your target? What really lights up that fire? People had no idea. They just walk through life with just cruise control. We are meant to be special. We have that power. Anyone can do it, but unfortunately, a lot of people have no direction. They have no target, and that's what I'm trying to do. Let's shoot for that target. It's like going into your vehicle. Now back in the day, you just work with directions. Now I'm going to New Jersey. Let me put the actual Cherry Hill address there, right? So I know where I'm going. You plan that before you get in the vehicle. You need to know where you're going, or have an idea where you're going, so you can actually start going that way. People do not have that. Unfortunately, they're all over the place, so they're shooting everywhere and hitting nothing. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Soon into, okay, let's focus. Really, what is your passion? Let's uncover that. Let's peel the onion. Let's find it. So you can go out there and live whatever you have of your life left out, and feel fulfilled and complete. Yes, sir.
I think that's just really good advice as we, I learned this in my world as a coach, and as I've coached many people, right? Thousands of people and come through my martial arts schools, and the ones that become black belts, and then the ones that fall off as black belts, and then I watch them lose purpose. And I said, hey man, all the work that you put in to get here, those lessons, life lessons, should be serving you well outside the school. And when you get adversity and when you get attacked, that is the time that you dig down deep and you learn how to have grit and you know how to have a grind, and you'll grow through the process. And I think that is where people fall short of their purpose. And then when they have self-doubt, their self-confidence is defeated. And then you have to find that and build that.
Let me add something, because we have similar things, similar styles that we go, right? So what do we use to walk around so people can identify us? Uniforms. We walk around in uniforms, right? You have your gi, you have your gear, you have your black belts. And when you remove that, it's like taking off the superhero suit. And all of a sudden you think it's like, wow, what am I doing now? People don't respect me. And people have a hard time with that for one reason or the other. You're not just a uniform. You're not just a uniform. You are you, because the way you act, the way you treat people, because you're a human being. You're more than that. A lot of people struggle with those things, and some really, really hard. You know about the challenge, the 22 push-up challenge. That challenge is done because according to statistics, there's 22 veterans or soldiers that take their lives every day. So, I'm trying to hit them before they make the bad decision, the decision that they don't have to. And some of it is that like, wow, what am I going to do now? What's my purpose? And they get lost. They're lost. And you cannot save them all, but at least one at a time.
That's
one
right.
life is better than nothing.
That's right. We've been on that, and I've got a good amount of people that are military to help these people that come back. And that's the whole thing I tell everybody in martial arts, especially, that purpose is a major thing. And if you lose it, then you lose your identity, and that is just a hard thing. And so it's so good to see, a lieutenant colonel come out, have this power of leadership, and be able to help those that need purpose. If we don't have a purpose-driven life, man, what do we got? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have a, it's almost a life without God, right?
Yeah.
When you have a life without God, you kind of wander aimlessly. Then you get God in your life. Then direction starts happening, and then you hit walls. And how are you going to be able to get around the walls of it, right? Emilio's saying he salutes you.
Yeah, there you go.
He loves his veterans too.
Yes, sir.
And so I think that's such a powerful man, FICO, that you kind of come out here. I'm looking forward to seeing how you're coaching. I'm looking forward to FICO's mastermind, where we're going to learn from lessons from a lieutenant colonel on purpose-driven life.
Go.
That's what I'm waiting.
Love it.
You know what I mean?
And one of the other things that I'm working, once we find that purpose, confidence. Confidence is it dictates everything pretty much. You can look good. You can have all your books in line. You study everything, all the courses. All of a sudden you're walking, even body language.
Right. That's correct.
Get in front of the stage and
That's
you got to
correct.
work on that, because not all A's are created equal. All right, so just because you have an A doesn't mean that you're the best guy. I have a C, but no, that's not how it works.
Yes, confidence breeds. Confidence will breed you into the next level that you need. Self-confidence. I tell all my students, when you can master self-confidence and self-discipline, you become a well-skilled black belt. Okay. So that is what I tell them all the time, right? What do we need to have? Self-confidence. With self-confidence, you breed self-discipline, and with self-discipline, you become well-skilled. And when you become well-skilled, that is what a black belt is, not the pretty belt around your waist. So that's it. So I want to take this last few seconds we have, FICO, I'm going to let you give it out. Let's have some words of wisdom from the Lieutenant Colonel, and we'll end with that. So take it away. You've got the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Let me hear what you got to say.
Just quick. There's a lot of people that are lost. They don't know what they're doing, and they hoping that things happen to them. It's time to stop hoping. Time to stop hoping and take action. Change is not going to happen in the couch, and change happens inside of you. It happens from within. You have to take the next move, push yourself, stop waiting for someone to push you to do something, and take freaking ownership of your life and make that decision. Take that step, the first step to the second journey, or the best journey that you're going to be on the second half of your life. And that's what I decided to do. Started investing in myself, slap myself around, and I said, it is time. It is time to be a new FICO and help others the best I can. But it started from within, and that's what I'm doing right now. Yes, sir.
So awesome, FICO. Change does not start on the couch. That is 100% true. And having ownership. The biggest book that changed my life was Jocko's book on extreme ownership. When I read that, that was what changed me in my blood clot days. That extreme ownership from Jocko. Stop blaming other people for your shortcomings. Stop blaming environment. Stop blaming everything. Take some ownership. And boy, it's hard. When you listen to his podcast too, you're like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
I want to so much blame somebody else. But hey, and he looks at you dead in the eye and he's like, it's your fault. Take it. Yeah. It's your fault. Why are you blaming other people? Okay.
You're the only one you can control, right? You can control anybody else.
That's so true.
You are the only one you can control. The last thing is that I want to tell people were not born losers or winners. We were born choosers. We choose what to do. So choose wisely.
Awesome. That's so good.
Yes, sir.
Man, I had a good hour with you, man. It was so fun.
There it is.
There it is.
Yes, sir.
There it is. Next time we get together, I'm going to wear I have a tie similar to yours. We're going to I'm going to tie up next time we meet.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's on your podcast or mine again.
I would love to have you on my podcast. Of course. Looking forward to continue learning from you. You're a pro. You're an expert, man. You're a legend. Appreciate this time with you. Hey, God bless. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, FICO. You have an awesome day.
You've been listening to Real Talk with Mark Cox. Real life, real topics, real conversation. We're passionate about motivation, fitness, self-defense, weight loss, and coming at it from a real angle. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. And we hope you had fun. We know we did. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on Instagram and Facebook at MarkCox100. Make sure to subscribe and review. And tell a friend or two about the show. For more, hit up the website at markcox.com. Till next time.